When a woman disrespects you, the natural instinct for most men is to argue, defend themselves, or try to win her back with explanations. But the truth is, the most powerful move you can make is to do the opposite. Walk away without a word, without anger, without explanation. That silence carries a weight that no argument ever could. Because the moment you walk away calmly, you're sending a message you value yourself enough not to entertain disrespect, and you don't need her approval to validate your worth. That is the kind of strength women remember long after the moment has passed. Think about it. When someone disrespects you and you react emotionally, you're giving away your power. You're saying, your behavior controls me, you have the power to shake me. But when you refuse to engage, when you simply turn and walk away, you're showing that her disrespect doesn't penetrate your sense of self. It bounces off you like it never mattered. And that calm indifference creates a sting that arguments never do. People expect anger, they expect noise, they expect to push your buttons. But when you don't play the game, when you don't even step onto that battlefield, it flips the script entirely. Walking away isn't weakness, it's ultimate strength. Weakness is needing to be understood. Weakness is chasing after someone who showed you a lack of respect, trying to explain why they shouldn't have treated you that way. Strength is recognizing that your energy is too valuable to waste on people who don't honor it. Strength is choosing yourself, even in silence. And women feel that. They notice it. In fact, silence and distance often make a bigger impact than any speech you could give. It leaves her with nothing to hold on to, nothing to argue with, nothing to dismiss. All that's left is the echo of your absence. Now, here's where regret comes in. When you walk away without explaining, you deny her the closure she expects. Most men argue, plead, or demand respect in that moment. She's seen it before and she knows how to control it. But you broke the pattern. You left her standing there with nothing, no words to twist, no reaction to mock, no attention to feed her ego, just silence. And in that silence, questions grow. Well, why didn't he argue? Well, why didn't he try to explain? Why was he so calm? That curiosity turns into reflection, and reflection turns into regret. Walking away also reinforces your boundaries. You don't have to say, I won't tolerate disrespect. You demonstrated it. You showed without words that you live by standards. And real standards aren't spoken, they're enforced. A man who says he has boundaries but stays when they're crossed is only fooling himself. But a man who simply withdraws the moment disrespect enters the picture, that's someone who truly knows his worth. And that self-respect is magnetic because it communicates that you won't settle, you won't bend, and you won't let anyone treat you as less than you are. Over time, that silence becomes louder than any speech. When she sees you living your life unbothered, when she sees you not chasing, not explaining, not giving her the satisfaction of a reaction, the realization sets in. She lost access to a man who doesn't crumble under pressure. A man who carries himself with dignity. A man who commands respect by how he lives, not by what he says. That's when the regret kicks in. That's when she remembers you differently than all the others. So remember this, the strongest words you can ever speak in the face of disrespect are no words at all. Just turn, walk away, and let your silence speak volumes. The most powerful response to disrespect is not an argument, not a speech, not even silence alone. It is transformation. Leveling up quietly is a move that no one can dismiss because it shows in ways words never could. When someone disrespects you, the temptation is to prove your worth directly to them, to show them they were wrong about you, but that's still giving them power. The real strength is turning inward, focusing on yourself and letting your growth and evolution speak for you without you having to say a word. When she sees you thriving, when she sees the man she doubted or belittled becoming sharper, stronger, and more unstoppable, the regret comes naturally. Leveling up isn't about revenge. It's not about trying to make her jealous or prove her wrong. That's a trap because the moment you make it about her, you're still trapped in her frame. The silent move is about reclaiming all that energy and investing it in yourself. Maybe that means building your body in the gym, sharpening your mind through learning, doubling down on your purpose in life, or surrounding yourself with people who uplift you. Whatever it looks like, it's about evolving into the version of yourself that you know you're capable of being, the version that no disrespect could ever touch. Think about the impact of that. While she might expect you to argue, beg, or linger in her shadow, you do the opposite. You disappear, and when she does catch glimpses of you again, you're not the same man she left behind. You're fitter, calmer, more successful, more disciplined. You're out there making moves, not seeking validation. That quiet transformation is undeniable. She may not admit it out loud, but inside she feels it. The sting of underestimating you. What makes leveling up so powerful is that it shifts the balance completely. Instead of her being the center of your focus, your life becomes the center of your focus. Instead of being consumed by how she treated you, you're consumed by building something bigger than her opinion. That change in energy is magnetic. People are drawn to men who are moving forward, men who radiate progress. And even if she doesn't say it, she'll notice. Every scroll through social media, every update from mutual friends, every casual glimpse of you out in the world will remind her of what she lost the moment she disrespected you. And the beauty of it is, you don't have to say a single word, no speeches, no posts calling her out, no bitter energy, just progress, just results. When you're quiet about your moves, they land even harder because it's not noise, it's undeniable evidence. People can argue with your words, but they can't argue with your growth. They can't dismiss the man who leveled up while staying silent. That kind of progress is humbling to witness, especially for someone who didn't value you when they had the chance. This is why the best response to disrespect is not confrontation but elevation. By quietly leveling up, you remind yourself and the world that your value never depended on anyone else's recognition. You become living proof that the best form of respect is self-respect, and the best form of revenge is living better. And the irony is, the moment you no longer care about proving anything to her, that's when she starts to feel the weight of regret the most. So keep your focus, keep your silence, and keep building. Let your success do the talking. Because when you level up quietly, your progress becomes the loudest message of all. When someone disrespects you, it's not the disrespect itself that defines the situation. It's how you respond to it. Most men make the mistake of reacting emotionally, getting angry, raising their voice, or even begging for validation. But the truth is, the strongest silent move you can make is to control your emotional reactions. Imagine a storm coming at you, lightning flashing, thunder crashing, and instead of being tossed around, you stand calm, steady, unshaken. That's power, because disrespect only has impact if you let it pierce your emotions. When you don't flinch, when you stay composed, you communicate that her words or actions are too small to disturb your inner world. Women test men all the time, often unconsciously. They push buttons, they challenge boundaries, they throw little jabs, not always because they want to hurt you, but because they want to see what you're made of. Do you fold under pressure? Do you lose control of your emotions? Or do you stay grounded, centered, confident no matter what? The man who reacts emotionally shows he can be controlled. The man who remains calm shows he is in control. That difference is everything. Think about what happens when you stay cool in the face of disrespect. Instead of yelling, instead of pleading, instead of proving, you give her nothing to feed on. Disrespect thrives on reaction. If she gets under your skin, she knows she has power. But when you don't give her that satisfaction, when you respond with composure, she has nothing. And that nothing echoes louder than any comeback could. It forces her to sit with her own actions, her own behavior, without you distracting her with an emotional outburst. Controlling your reactions doesn't mean tolerating disrespect. It doesn't mean you smile and accept it. It means you handle like a man with self-respect. Maybe you walk away, maybe you withdraw your attention, maybe you change the subject with confidence. The point is, you don't let her drag you into chaos. You set the tone, and you show through your actions that your emotional world is not something she has access to whenever she pleases. That kind of discipline is rare, and rare always commands respect. Over time, this calm strength makes a lasting impression. She might not admit it in the moment, but later she'll reflect on it. I tried to get under his skin, but he didn't budge. I threw disrespect at him, and he didn't even flinch. That's when regret starts creeping in because it sets you apart from the majority of men who crumble under the pressure. Instead of being just another guy who lost his cool, you become the one she remembers for his composure, the one she couldn't shake, the one who wouldn't hand over his power so easily. And here's the deeper truth. When you learn to control your emotional reactions with women, you also learn to control them in life. Business, friendships, family, every area benefits because emotional self-control is the foundation of leadership, strength, and lasting respect. People respect the man who can remain calm when others lose control. That calmness is magnetic, and it always puts you in the position of power. So the next time disrespect comes your way, remember this. Don't feed it. Don't fight it. Don't let it dictate your energy. Stand calm, stand steady, and show that you are untouchable. Because the man who cannot be shaken is the man who is never forgotten. One of the most silent yet devastating moves you can make after being disrespected is to withdraw your attention. Most men don't realize just how powerful their attention is. They give it away too freely, constantly checking up, texting, explaining themselves, or trying to fix what went wrong. But attention is energy, and where you place it determines your value. When a woman disrespects you, she expects you to chase, to demand answers, to keep giving her the satisfaction of knowing she still occupies your mind. But when you pull that attention back completely, when you stop feeding the situation, it hits harder than any words you could ever say. Attention is like fuel. When you give it, you keep the fire burning. When you take it away, the fire dies out. This is why withdrawing attention is such a powerful move. It shows her that you don't need her validation, you don't need her presence, and you don't need to waste your energy where it isn't appreciated. Instead of arguments, instead of trying to fix disrespect with endless effort, you simply redirect your focus onto yourself, your goals, your growth. That quiet shift speaks volumes. It communicates that your energy is valuable and you will not spend it where it isn't honored. The truth is, women notice when attention disappears. Even if she doesn't admit it, she feels the absence. The texts stop, the calls stop, the checking in, the availability, the eagerness. It all fades. Suddenly, she goes from having your focus to being left with silence. And silence is uncomfortable. It forces her to question what happened. Why isn't he chasing? Why isn't he trying? Did I lose his interest? Did I go too far? That's when the regret starts to sink in because she realizes the disrespect that once seemed like nothing actually cost her something valuable. Your presence. Withdrawing attention isn't about playing games or trying to manipulate her. It's about self-respect. It's about understanding that your energy is precious, and when someone crosses a line, they lose the privilege of access to it. That boundary is unspoken but undeniable. And the beauty of this move is that it doesn't require confrontation. You don't have to announce it. You don't have to make a scene. You just quietly step back, and that quietness becomes louder than any lecture ever could. Over time, the power of withdrawn attention becomes undeniable. She might test you again. She might try to reel you back in. But if you stay consistent, if you keep your focus on yourself instead of pouring it into someone who disrespected you, she'll see that you're different. Most men can't resist chasing. Most men fold under the pressure of withdrawal. But you stood firm. And that kind of discipline commands respect in ways words never will. The regret grows stronger when she sees you thriving without her attention, without her validation. She realizes that she is no longer the center of your world, and that stings. Because deep down, Everyone wants to feel like they matter. When you stop giving her that feeling, she's forced to reflect on why she lost it. And that reflection often turns into regret. Because losing a man who values his attention enough to guard it carefully is not something easily forgotten. So remember, attention is your most powerful currency. Don't spend it on disrespect. Pull it back, invest it into yourself, and let the absence of your energy deliver the message. Because when you withdraw your attention, you show without words that you are a man who will not be taken for granted. Another silent move that makes a woman regret disrespecting you is when you set clear boundaries and enforce them without drama. Most men either avoid setting boundaries out of fear of losing her, or they set them but cave in the moment she pushes back. That inconsistency sends a message that you don't truly value yourself, and disrespect always grows in environments where boundaries are weak. But when you calmly, firmly, and consistently enforce your standards, you show her something far more powerful than any emotional outburst. You show her that you are a man who knows his worth and refuses to compromise it. Boundaries are not about controlling someone else. They're not about punishing her or trying to make her behave a certain way. They're about defining what you will and will not tolerate in your life. They're about saying, this is the level of respect I require, and if it's not met, I will simply remove myself. That quiet firmness is what sets high-value men apart. You don't need to scream. You don't need to argue. You don't need to justify yourself endlessly. You state your boundary, you follow through, and you let your actions speak louder than your words. When a woman disrespects you, she's often testing to see where the line is. If she can cross it and face no consequences, she'll keep pushing. It's not always intentional malice. It's human nature to see how far we can go. But when you calmly enforce your boundaries, when you make it clear that certain behavior results in you pulling back, walking away, or no longer engaging, she instantly realizes that she can't treat you carelessly. And here's the key. It's not about the boundary itself, it's about the strength it shows. It reveals that you are disciplined, that you respect yourself enough not to stay where you are undervalued. This quiet enforcement creates a deep contrast in her mind. She thinks about the men in her past who begged, who pleaded, who tried to earn back respect by overcompensating. Then she looks at you, the man who didn't flinch, who didn't argue, who simply set his line and stood by it. That contrast makes her reflect. It makes her see you differently, and often it makes her regret that she tested you in the first place. What makes boundaries so powerful is that they shift the dynamic completely. Instead of her controlling the frame with her behavior, you control the frame with your standards. You're not reactive, you're proactive. You don't let her dictate the energy. You decide what energy you allow into your life. That calm confidence is rare, and rare always commands respect. Even if she pretends not to care in the moment, the memory of your firmness will remember that you are not like the others, and that realization often turns into regret. Over time, boundaries become your shield. They protect your peace, they protect your self-respect, and they protect your energy from being wasted where it's not valued. And the irony is, the moment you stop tolerating disrespect is often the moment people start respecting you more. Because respect is never given to those who demand it. It's given to those who live it. So when you set boundaries and enforce them silently, you're not just protecting yourself, you're teaching her and anyone who interacts with you exactly how you expect to be treated. And that silent standard leaves a lasting impression, because few things are more unforgettable than a man who refuses to compromise his self-respect. The final silent move that makes a woman regret disrespecting you is when you level up your life in silence. Nothing speaks louder than growth. Nothing makes someone question their choices more than seeing the person they disrespected transform into a stronger, more successful, more confident version of themselves without ever saying a word about it. Most men make the mistake of trying to prove their worth directly to the woman who disrespected them. They'll post things online for attention, brag about achievements, or go out of their way to show her they're doing fine, but true power lies in quiet progress. When you grow without announcing it, when you let your results speak for themselves, you create an impact that words could never achieve. Self-improvement is the ultimate revenge, but not in a petty sense, in a liberating one. Because when you focus on building your body, your career, your finances, your mindset, you shift the spotlight back where it belongs, on yourself. You stop worrying about who respects you or doesn't, and you start pouring that energy into your own evolution. And here's the irony: the very moment you stop trying to make her regret it is the moment she will. She'll look back and see the man she disrespected becoming everything she thought she wanted, and that realization will sting deeply. Leveling up in silence also creates mystery. When you're not broadcasting every move, when you're not seeking validation through updates, she's left to wonder, what's he up to? Why is he so quiet? How did he suddenly get in better shape, land that opportunity, surround himself with better people? That curiosity gnaws at her because silence leaves room for imagination, and imagination is often far louder than reality. The less you say, the more she fills in the blanks, and those blanks usually paint you in a more powerful light. But this kind of progress also creates undeniable contrast. She remembers the version of you she disrespected, the man who maybe tolerated too much, gave too much, or lacked boundaries. Then she sees the new version, the man who carries himself differently, who looks sharper, who walks into rooms with confidence, who clearly has elevated his life. That gap between the old you and the new you is where regret is born. She doesn't just regret the disrespect, she regrets losing access to the man you became. And the truth is, when you focus on growth, the regret she feels is almost irrelevant, because by then you've already moved on. You've already outgrown the need for her validation. You've built a life so fulfilling, so powerful, that her opinion no longer holds the weight it once did. That freedom is what truly makes you untouchable. The regret she feels becomes her burden to carry, not yours. And that is the beauty of leveling up silently. It shifts all the power back into your hands without you ever having to chase or prove anything. So instead of arguing, instead of seeking revenge, instead of demanding respect, just grow, improve yourself quietly, build a life so good it speaks for you. And when she sees it, whether up close or from a distance, the silence of your success will echo louder than any words ever could. Because nothing makes someone regret losing you more than realizing you became the best version of yourself without them.